What's up, guys? Today we've got a very special review coming, the long-awaited Cloud Defensive EPL. The EPL is the enhanced pistol light from Cloud Defensive. Now, I'm going to give some disclaimers here, and it's important to know what my relationship is with Cloud Defensive. So, I'm an original customer of Cloud Defensive. I bought the original Owls and had the original Rain 1.0s. Now, back in Armory's very first beginning, when we started getting going, we wanted to make some really cool videos with some actual police officers doing some cool stuff, doing cool guy stuff, kind of a lot of the beginnings of what you see us doing now. But we didn't have a lot of followers. We were kind of still finding ourselves. And I reached out to a few companies. I said, hey, this is what we're trying to do. And Cloud Defensive said, yeah, here's some lights. And so ever since then, I've just been kind of a fan of the company. Now, there's a bunch of internet drama going on. There has been over this pistol light. They said they were going to release it, then they weren't happy with it, then they backtracked with it, and the internet went all ablaze with it. And finally they decided to release it after they feel like it was ready to go. So we actually have our hands on one. This was provided to the channel for free. I did not pay for this. However, that's not going to affect my review. So with that being said, let's get into what actually comes in the box. So first thing you're going to see is some cards, and we have a instructional card that has a QR code that you scan and gives you directions apparently. However, when I scanned it, it took me to the Rain instructions. So I don't know if they're going to fix that or update that, but you scan the card, it takes you to the Rain directions. Coming up next in the box, you get a USB. This will get into the battery whenever we start getting into how the battery works, but you get a little USB cable. And then they give you these extended levers. These will make the profile of your switch a little bit larger. And then we have these two bags that say 1913 on them, and one says SIG. So these are lugs to attach on the bottom of your light, and it's to allow a tighter fit if you're mounting to like a Picatinny rail or a SIG handgun. After that, you have the EPL itself. So the EPL comes in this cool little bag, and here you go. Here it is in all of its glory. And it should be ready to mount coming right out of the box. I brought a little tool with me. Just keep in mind that it does not come with a tool. If you're buying pistol lights and all this type of stuff, you should probably have a few of these. It's not like an odd size or anything proprietary. So I had to bring my own, but just so you know, it does not come with that. All right, so starting with the light itself, I kind of want to go over the exterior of the light. First off, I'm really happy with the way that this looks. Looking cool is half the battle, and this thing just looks really sleek and slim, and I really like it. So it's hard to talk about this light without directly comparing it to the X300 Turbo. They pretty much are direct competitors with each other. So it's going to be hard for me to do a review with this without comparing feature to feature with the X300 Turbo. So comparing it with the X300 Turbo, there's several differences. And I would actually say they're improvements. So one, it is a little bit shorter than the X300 Turbo. You can definitely see it's not too much shorter, but it is a little bit shorter. And then getting into the size of the profile here, We have the X300 over here and the EPL over here. The EPL uses one singular 18350 battery, whereas the X300 Turbo uses two CR123 batteries. So you're gonna get a lot better battery performance out of the EPL. They boast like 40 plus minutes of runtime. I've not had a chance to actually test this out. I got this in the mail. I wanted to get this review out to you guys as quick as possible. So I'm hoping to do an updated video later on where I actually will run down the battery, see what performance we're getting out of those. So it does sit a little narrower. However, it will fit an X300 Safariland holster. So I have my Safariland holster and it fits it's made for my X300 Turbo, and the EPL will fit inside of that holster. All right, so the next thing I want to get into is the specs of the EPL. Like I said, it's gonna be really hard to compare these two lights without a Surefire next to it because they are pretty much direct competitors in the market. So what I want to do is show you what these two look like against each other. Now, just some quick data sheet specs real quick. The EPL is about 1200 lumens and about 52,000 candela, while the X300 is 1,000. This one's 1,000 lumens. This is the X300 Ultra. You are getting a little bit more runtime out of the EPL, probably because of the 18350 battery. But there's a balance between candela and lumens. Like, a lot of people don't really understand what lumens are, what candela is. And the easiest way to think about it is lumens is kind of like the amount of light, but candela is how far it throws. So you can have the highest lumen light. You're like, hey, I've got a cool like 100,000 lumen light or whatever it is. That doesn't really mean much if it's not throwing the light far. And where that comes in real world applications with a pistol light, with any weapon light really, is what they call photonic barriers. So that's gonna be, if you're a police officer, it's gonna be looking at in through window tint, or like rain, like you see we're out here filming in the rain now, or fog or something like that. So candela is super important, and it is a balance between the amount of lumens you have in candela we have. So with all that being said, let's look at what the X300 looks like compared to the EPL. So about, I don't know, what do we say? This was like 60 yards about is where we're at. We kind of walked it out. I feel like that's a pretty decent pistol engagement, like the farther end of a pistol engagement. I see a lot of YouTube guys going like 100 yards out. And there's some validity to that, and I'll get into that in a second when we start talking about spill. But let's go ahead and fire up the X300 and see what these three targets look at about 60 to 75 yards away. So there it is. You can see this nice open warehouse. We've got three targets down there in the end. I'm shining directly at the middle target, and we've got a target on the right and a target on the left. Now this is where spill kind of comes into play, because if I'm looking at one target, I want as much information into my situation as possible. So I want to be able to see if there are other threats. I want to be able to see the environment. And if you think about your rules of firearm safety, you need to know what your target is and what's behind it. And that's why a lot of candela is important. Maybe you're not engaging a target at 100 yards, but maybe you need to see what's behind the target you're shooting at 60 yards. Maybe you do need a little more information from what's going on in the background. So this is the X300 right here. You can see a target way over there on the left, target in the center, and a target on the right. Now let's fire up the EPL. And so here you can clearly see an insane hot spot right there in the middle, and there's lots of spills that even though I'm aiming at that first target, that second target on the right is pretty illuminated. Like, I know that there's another target over there, and I can faintly see that target far over there on the left. It may be really hard for you guys to see, but I can definitely see that. So I'm gonna switch between the two real quick, just a few times in a row, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So let's go Surefire and EPL off. There's your Surefire again. And here's your EPL. Surefire. EPL. So you can definitely see where that candela is coming into play. And it's going to be super important. So overall, I'm incredibly excited about the performance of this light. I think they knocked it out of the park, which is a much needed win, I think, for Cloud as a company. I'm always excited to see what they're gonna do. And I think this pistol light really is a huge win in the industry. I like that it's smaller. I like that it uses a better, more powerful battery, and I like that I don't have to buy a new holster just to accommodate this light.